going on there, Jerk Faces? It's your boy Andy, and you're watching Nocturnal Transmissions, brought to you by the Circle of Jerks podcast. It's a weekly live stream where we talk about news, culture, and of course movies. This month is the start of our new theme, which is black and white. So we'll be, hitting all of we're doing a second pass essentially of black and white movies. Some from like early on in the 20th century, and some a little bit more towards the end of the 20th century. But tonight we'll be starting off with I think a classic, and that's The Postman Always Rings Twice, starring Lana Turner, John Garfield, Cecil Kellaway.
Yeah.
A lot of familiar names.
Yeah,
I mean, at least if you're really into movies and in that particular era of Hollywood, then you'll those names will be familiar to you.
Yeah. Some might be more familiar with the remake from the 80s, which is not as good. But yeah, this is your choice. This is my first time watching it.
Me too. Because I've always heard it referenced in like other movies or what have you. I mean, famously in Kill Bill Volume 2 when the bride Beatrix Kiddo goes to visit Bill's surrogate father figure, basically a pimp, and he recounts an anecdote for Beatrix of him taking young Bill to the movies, and it just so happened to be The Postman Always Rings Twice.
Oh shit!
That whenever Lana Turner came on the screen, that the young Bill would compulsively begin to suck his thumb, and that he knew from that moment on that he'd be a sucker for blondes.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, Lana Turner. Ooh.
Yeah. Seriously though, can't really blame a little bastard.
This is peak Lana Turner too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like. I mean, not to say that there aren't beautiful women now, but it's just like those old school Hollywood starlets. It's like they're on a different level.
There's something we've shared like a few of our favorites, but like man, Liz Taylor, Lana Turner,
Rita Hayworth.
Hepburn is a beautiful woman too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have a lot of people really love Audrey Hepburn. There's Hedy Lamarr.
Mm-hmm.
Yvonne DiCarlo. All these like really beautiful actresses. It's just like wow. Rita Hayworth. We enjoyed her in Gilda.
Mm-hmm.
God damn, that's a great movie too. I need to rewatch that again. That was a good movie.
It's so funny that you bring that up because I was watching AMC, and they actually had Shawshank on, and I happened to flip on just as they were showing that scene from Gilda.
Yeah, that would actually be a good double feature, watching Gilda and then Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, it's kind of like it'd be like maybe we can do like arguably, or we should should have saved Postman Always Rings Twice for that month, because then we could have done Kill Bill Volume 2, and then this.
True, we could have done.
It'd be the Reese's month.
Oh yeah, well there's so many movies that do that, so we have plenty to work with.
Right. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not as though it's a shallow pool, that category.
Well, hell, we could have saved our time. If we had done Galaxina another day, we could have done the film that's being shown in that one. Which is
what movie are they showing in that one?
They're watching it was like the Venus, Women from Venus or something like that. It's not a good film. I've seen that film before. It's not good. It's about it's pretty schlocky.
Right. Yeah, well, so yes, we have our movie review. The Postman was written twice. And of course, our topics of the day. Um, uh, I think we're definitely doing definitely more local in terms of the news item, because we will be talking about the bullet dodge of bullet dodges, and that's uh, the Los Angeles City Council was debating whether or not they're to re-implement a mask mandate. I mean, for those of you who who are regulars to this channel, you know how we feel about masks and particularly mandates. So
Yeah.
even if it were to pass, I would have just I would have taken an opposition position, probably not have gone out as much. Um,
Yeah,
and
yeah, pretty much.
yeah, or just ridicule people just ridicule people for wearing their masks. It's like it's the sky falling all over again. It's like I mean, and particularly now with like the whole monkeypox thing and how San Francisco, like they're declaring a health emergency, but it's like it's like the vast majority of the people getting the monkeypox are a certain demographic.
Yeah, people engaged in certain activities
Right.
that
Yeah. The what is it? The CDC director. She described it as the men who sleep with men.
which
Because she couldn't come out and call them like associated them with the LGBT basically lobby. Now I'm not even calling them a community. It's the LGBT lobby.
oh
Because
yeah.
that's really because Johnny Fudgepacker is your regular Johnny Fudgepacker doesn't care about if if people make fun of him for being a homo or whatever, but it's the political arm of the homos
I
that care. And
can't do it.
so
Honey Fudgepacker.
yeah, your regular Johnny Fudgepacker.
Uh,
And it's like and because it is in a way singled out because it is only men. Like if it was the L's, if it was the L's too, you could say something. But majority of the people who are getting this are gay men. And maybe even some maybe even some trans people sprinkled in. So
I knew something was stirring because they were talking about, oh, we need the monkeypox is such a big problem, and like we need to get they've been Dr. Fauci, our best friend, kind of circling the wagons once again.
How will be his name?
Yeah, we need vaccines. And it's like what you're playing. It's the same old fucking tune.
Yeah, it's for a condition that you can only contract from direct contact. Not just like if someone sneezes on you. You have to like be pressed up against that person's skin. For for a duration longer than just bumping into somebody while casually walking down the street.
Yeah, it's not like I'm like, oh, sorry, I bumped into you. Oh shit, I have monkeypox.
Right,
That's
exactly.
not what's happening. It's God. Anyways, so we had that, but once that wasn't, people were like, yeah, no, we're not having random gay orgies at a truck stop somewhere. Like, so it's falling on deaf ears as it should.
Mm-hmm.
And so then oh, the COVID cases are going back up, and then you started all the mass hysteria over that. I haven't watched any real like national news, but I've definitely been hearing it like on at a local level. So, but I imagine it's happening all over the fucking especially the more left leaning cities.
Right. It's the coast. It's the coast and like the heavily blue dominated cities.
So it's like
So
the
yeah,
cases are going up, and because I've definitely noticed more people wearing masks around. It's like, oh God, here we go.
I know,
And it's
like yeah, but who's dying? Like, how many people are dying? I don't care if you get it. Let me know, like, who's dying. You know, if you say like 1 million people died from this, then it's like, okay, I'll take this seriously. But you know, all you're saying is like, look how many people are getting it. It's like, yeah, but who's dying?
exactly. It's kind of like, we talked about last time where it was like they're like yelling at that woman who was shot at. It's like, yeah, but did you die?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, yeah, it's like, but who's? That's the question again. It's like, but it's not. But did you die? It's like, but who's dying? You know,
Yeah,
that's the question. It's like,
but
you know,
no, it's
and again, kind of like with the whole monkeypox thing. It's like, but who's dying? You know, they want to make this like, you know, COVID like, you know, 3.0 or whatever, but it's just like the majority of the cases are dudes, gay dudes, who are, you know, who do the butt stuff, you know, and who have on average like on average, this is like an average, on average have 30 partners.
yeah. But yeah, I've noticed that, then, like, the news started to promote, like, oh, the COVID cases are going up, blah blah blah, and oh, we all the usual rhetoric. It's like, oh, here we go.
Hmm.
And then, because I definitely noticed a lot more people wearing like masks around, I'm like, oh geez. And then once I heard that they were talking about, like, oh, they're deliberating whether we should bring back mandates for, Los Angeles County, I was like, oh fuck, here we go, it's gonna happen. I had zero.
Yeah, I had zero hope too, but you know, I think people are like starting to get like, you know, get like that exhaustion, you know, of, you know, they're, you know, that constant like fear of like, you know, like the Chicken Little, where like the sky is constantly falling. And it's like, I think people are just over it. It's like, you know, it's kind of like in Great Britain during World War II and the Blitz. And yeah, initially people like were freaked out about, you know, German bombers and stuff. And like as soon as they heard the air raid silent, they turned off their lights, head down into the basement. But after a few months of that, they're like, yeah, it's like, yeah, well, if we die, then we die. And so like, pubs opened up again, dance halls opened up again. It's just like they decided to just live with it,
Here's
And
the thing, though, Andy. They actually had a real threat.
well, no, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's just like these like the people in during the Blitz, like they had like a legitimate concern, right, of being bombed, you know basically bombed into oblivion. But
Yeah,
like here we have like here in right now it's not even that immediate. It's like, yeah, you can get it, but like it'll take you a few days to die or whatever. It's just like but it's like shit like that. It's not I don't think it's enough to just like shut down like your entire life or an entire society for it.
it's like, I'm not saying that people didn't get it. I'm not saying that there weren't some people who, I don't think they died of it, but because it was just another thing on top of their 4 other illnesses
Right, yeah, the average person that died had on average, four comorbidities.
yeah, it's like it was just the final nail in the coffin.
Right,
It's
it's
just like
like
that's what ended it. I don't know.
right, yeah, it's a guy who it's like a guy on top of a building. He gets shot in the arm, falls down, hits the ground, and then gets run over by the truck. What killed him?
Exactly. It's, I don't know of any story, or I definitely don't know any person, but I never heard a story of, like, oh, the guy was completely healthy, like he was he had no heart problems, he was at the perfect weight, and then he got COVID and he died.
Right, and
I
and if there was a story, it'd be the exception, not the rule.
Yeah, and well, and don't you think that they would have promoted that they were? I mean, they would have stood on that person's grave and, like, look, it's very dangerous.
Well, I mean, no, that's what they did with the kids, though. Like, as soon as like a kid got it, or like a handful of kids got it, they're like, oh, look, see, kids are getting it too. Even though, like, this virus was a very picky eater.
Yeah,
And like it only went after the elderly and like the infirm. And I mean, just if you like dollars to donuts, the average person does not know anyone personally that died from this virus. And I mean, I, I tangentially knew someone that died from it. My aunt, but again, like she had, she was sundowning. Kind of like she had kind of like Alzheimer's, probably Alzheimer's, and so like she got it, but she got over it. But then the doctors are saying like, yeah, this thing kicked her ass. Like she's probably not gonna make it, and we were hopeful, and she was kind of. It seemed like she was coming back on the mend, but ultimately she didn't. So just so I do know someone like slightly related.
You can
But
fight so many illnesses at once. It
right, yeah, I
just
know, like yeah, because my aunt, she had a degenerative neurological condition, and like so
which
her health wasn't that great to begin with, and so it's like this was the thing that like finally did her in. It was like it was the straw that broke the camel's back. But
like
the
what
back
people don't
wasn't that firm to begin.
Yeah, well, people don't realize though, with like especially with those neurological diseases, it doesn't just affect your memory; it affects how your body operates.
Right,
Because
exactly.
like all the stuff that you don't think about, like breathing, the bacteria defense, all the all your white cells, all the stuff that just happens, naturally internally that you don't
Yeah,
think about.
automatically.
Digestion, all that stuff. It gets the synapses get fucked up and those things start to shut down. So that it's not just like I think a lot of people don't understand like with that. It's not just the mind, because
Right.
the mind that's what people notice, but what they don't understand is that it affects everything else too. And over time, if once you start off with like dementia, which is kind of like the beginning of it, but it can develop into Alzheimer's and kind of like the HIV/AIDS thing. It seems like, and once you get Alzheimer's, it's just a matter of time before your body stops, your brain doesn't help with those functions that you need to live.
Right.
That's why like everyone dies from that. Like it is a deadly disease that we don't know what to do with it. And so yeah, your aunt got COVID, sure. And it's just one more thing on top of that. Like, it's just her body couldn't take it. The body was already doing what it could to defend against the Alzheimer's, but it was just a matter of time, which is it was just unfortunate. It's a tragedy. Now, I'm not saying that these deaths, that are it's just kind of like that final nail in the coffin. No one wants to know that their aunt died or
Or their
their parent.
grandmothers, or their
Yeah,
their fathers, their brothers, their sons.
exactly. No one's saying that that's not sad. Of course it is. It's like we're not heartless monsters, or we're not the people. It's like no, it doesn't even exist. It's like of course, yeah. I'm not saying it doesn't exist either, but it's not. Even like my parents too, like where they're just like, yeah, you got to just live your life. It's like stop. And they're older. They're in their although my mom's still pretty young, but my dad's almost 70 now. Like, he's getting up there. He's like, yeah, I gotta live my life. What else am I gonna do? It's like I mean, not that they go out a ton anyways, but like, yeah, he's my dad is a very active, you talkative guy. Like he's a very extroverted person. He
Mm-hmm.
has to be around people, I think. So
Right.
it's
Yeah,
just
and I mean, yeah, those people who like, kind of, cloak themselves in like, oh, I'm so compassionate. Look at me. I'm foregoing, going out to, for the sake of other people. It's like, well, fuck you, because like legitimately fuck you, because what is it? The like suicides and overdoses like spiked like crazy during the past like 2 years, and like and again like just locally like in San Leandro, California. What is it? In like the first few months of the lockdowns, they had like a year's worth of suicides in just like a short few months. And those are people who needed to go, like, and I'm sure like those are people who like, it could just be like everyday people who just like couldn't stand being away from people, or they were addicts who needed their support group, but they were told that they couldn't be with their support group, and so they got back on the bottle, or they started using again, and
Yeah, exactly.
and it's like so those people who are like, oh, even if it saves one life, it's like you allowed like thousands of people to die, a year's worth of suicides in a couple of months. And you want to say that you're like the compassionate ones? You're the ones who are like, oh, even if it saves one person, what about those people?
The collateral damage from this is
I know
astronomical.
it hasn't been felt yet. We're like feeling like a little bit of it, like with from like inflation and like supply chain breakdown, but
Yeah,
we have not even yet to begin to feel the collateral damage from 2 years of lockdowns.
yeah. The I have a feeling that the reason why they probably ended up voting against it, I have a feeling like somewhere in the back rooms when they're discussing, it's like even like some of the most left wing feels like, listen, like people who like own businesses and stuff, like, listen, if we have to wear like if people have to come and like wear masks in our businesses, no one's gonna come, and we're in a recession and we can't afford this shit to happen again. Like even like because it wasn't gonna be like a lockdown or anything, but like the whole mandate thing and like trying to get that enforced and all. It's like, yeah, we're not gonna do this again.
Right, because
It's
yeah,
like,
because business owner, because again, the onus was put on business owners. It wasn't the government doing this. All right, the government did not send any of us masks to wear. We did it to ourselves. And then the government again put the onus of enforcement on the business owners. And I mean, you see those videos of those people like freaking out, like, yeah, you every once in a while you see the anti-maskers like, oh no, my body, my choice, or whatever. But more often than not, you saw a busybody, going up and like confronting someone not wearing a mask, or getting involved, the workers at the business, and just like, they're tired of it. I mean, particularly like the airlines, like the steward, like the flight attendants and such, like.
it's not the FAA or the TSA that's enforcing it.
Well, no, I mean just like, but non-government entities, like,
Well,
like private businesses. Yeah,
that,
yeah. So like, flight attendants got the worst of this. I mean, there were some who were like power tripping hard, but like, just like the kind of like, the ones who've been doing it for like 20 years, and they're just trying to make it to like their retirement, and then now they got to, as much as they were, nannies in the sky, to begin with, now they have to deal with like these crazy people who are flying and afraid for their lives, but then still take the risk of coming on and like freak out because someone, doesn't have the mask completely over their nose. And so businesses are, and they're just tired of it, and they're tired of doing the grunt work for the government.
yeah, as they should be. It's like, listen, you want to enforce this thing, you come out and you enforce it
I know
yourselves.
you mobilize the police, you mobilize the National Guard, you pull a guy off, out of a what is it, army base in Germany, and you have him take a rifle and stick him in my face and tell me to put on a mask. All right, that's the only way I'm gonna do it.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's
The
like, don't tell freaking Hakeem at the 7-Eleven that he's the one that has to enforce this shit.
yeah, it's stupid. But like I said, I think that the only reason that they probably did not end up voting to re.
Oh, we lost you. Hold on, stand by.
Sorry,
All right. Oh
I
yeah,
got
we
some
lost you.
stupid.
We lost you
Sorry,
for
I
a
got
bit,
some
but
stupid.
yeah. The only reason they didn't vote to.
To do it, like I said, I think it's just some people's like, listen, we're not gonna do this again because if everyone has to, they're forcing us to, do this mask mandate thing. No one's gonna come, and we don't have. The city's broke. Everybody's broke because of the stupid government policies. So let's just calm down, all right?
Yeah, no, an account that I follow on Instagram, Unmasked America. Like, this account would like call out businesses that were enforcing mask mandates. Back when.
Yeah.
But yeah, but yeah, I found out through their posting of like, oh, like California, Los Angeles city government, you know, uh, deliberating on whether or not to reinstate a mandate, and just like, holy shit, oh god, not this again. But then a few days later, they post up again, and it's like, oh, city, council decides, not to reinstate mandate, and it's like, oh, I was like, thank God, and not just like for me personally, but thank God, because yeah,
San
because
today.
because these businesses, like, these businesses can't afford to, again, do the dirty work of the government, and then also they, and they can't afford to, have their businesses empty.
Now I'm not gonna stop Linus from carrying their blanket around. If you feel like that you need it, like
Right?
whatever.
Yeah. Like, yeah. I might think lesser of you, but I'm not.
Can't stop.
But I'm not gonna get up in your face and like try
And
to
rap.
rip it off you, or yell at you, call you like, oh, you sheep, you're such a sheep. Fall, follow the narrative, sheep.
You know what's funny though? It's just funny how we just did a few weeks ago we did Close Encounters of the Third Kind,
Mm.
and it's like that moment like where it's like, yeah, the government is they're lying to us. There's nothing wrong with the air,
I
and
know,
he
yeah.
gas mask. I mean, yeah, like he was like he had one just in case, but he's like, no, I think they're lying to us. And he takes it off and everything's fine.
Right,
And
yeah,
we
and like the people that did like get to the mount, like the ones who were invited, they got to the they put them on the helicopter, and then as soon as like they took off, all the government officials took off their gas masks.
and that but how many times did we see like when people thought that the cameras were off, they were
Oh
going
yeah,
like
yeah,
all
yeah, yeah, yeah.
quote the officials and the serious people that were taking it very seriously. How many times like off camera when there were around dozens of people took it off?
Yeah, I mean, famously, both the mayor of LA and the mayor of San Francisco, and of course, freaking Patrick Bateman and reject Gavin Newsom, famously, took pictures maskless, with I'm sorry, Magic Johnson. It's like these guys are liars.
If anybody is gonna be like concerned about getting sick, I think it'd be Magic Johnson.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. The what is it? The immunodeficient one.
Yeah.
So allegedly the immunodeficient one.
Who knows? I mean, that either the guy is well, obviously he has billions of dollars, so that
I
it
don't
does.
care. I'm staying in now. I don't think AIDS is real. Something was killing the homos, but it wasn't this thing called AIDS, because once it got to Africa, the symptoms were completely different.
Yeah,
It
I
wasn't
don't
it
know.
wasn't like yeah, it wasn't like the typical, like, lesions and you know high, what white cell deficiency or whatever. Like, yeah, the the symptoms in American AIDS and African AIDS were completely different. And it was hitting women more than it was hitting men in Africa.
Yeah, I think a lot of that. Yeah, there was a lot of like stuff with like weird like blood transfusions over there, and yeah, you're right that I think a lot of the symptoms were different. I don't know if it doesn't exist, but yeah, I'm not gonna go that far. But
Yeah, I'll take it there. I'm saying that, yeah, the AIDS is not a thing. It's something else. I'm not saying,
that,
yeah, I'm not saying that, nothing was, there wasn't anything killing the homos, but there was something killing the homos. It just didn't, it didn't finish its job, but something was killing the homos. But it wasn't this thing called AIDS.
well, and it's funny that like you have that, which arguably, like I would say, arguably is much more dangerous disease as opposed to what we went through with COVID. And who was the guy that was? Oh, that's right, Dr. Fauci. He was he was the guy that was still around. He was the guy that was behind all that, and like
Yeah, and he was the one that dragged the feet. He was the one that dragged the feet on like the treatment. Uh,
you're gonna get AIDS from touching the cereal box. It's like
yeah, sir. Yeah, or if you share a public toilet with you can get AIDS. But yeah, and then he was the one who's killing homos, and and I think what was killing the homos was the treatment.
these guys hate the old gays hate him.
Right. Yeah, but like what was killing the homos was the treatment, which was AZT, which was a failed cancer drug. A
Yeah,
failed cancer drug. It's like, oh yeah, well let's just repurpose it. It's like, and we'll just we'll just say that it treats AIDS now.
just kind of like how we have a failed vaccine. I would think.
Yeah, and I mean, in a related, I know we didn't want to talk about it, but you gotta wonder with Biden and like, I know he got COVID and like supposedly he got over it and then supposedly he gained it again, but it's like this guy was like vaxxed and like at least double boosted, like 2 booster shots. So like there's like something weird about that because either one he didn't really get the vaccine, or the vaccine doesn't do what it's alleged to do.
Well, I wonder if both are true, to be honest. Because don't we? What? I don't know if like this is just something that I remember. If it's like with the Mandela effect, but didn't we see like those people that were getting like the quote unquote vaccine, but
Oh
they had
yeah, like that one who got it and like the needle like went back into the syringe,
yeah,
or
it's
like
like
or like the one where like they supposedly got it, but the plunger was already pushed down.
yeah, it's like what?
So at minimum, that person who like got stuck but then didn't get anything put in them, it's like was that an already previously used needle? Like shouldn't there be like a lawsuit?
Yeah, it's like something's weird there. But like I said, that's probably gonna be wiped from
Yeah,
like
but I mean, yeah,
no,
I wouldn't be surprised because again, because as much as I enjoy Trump, he's my favorite comedian. Um,
there's a lot.
but like yeah, this vaccine is admittedly pushed forward. It skipped a lot. It skipped a lot of trials. And in my opinion, the general public, we're the test. We're the test. So maybe and it could be like the double blind thing. Some people got saline. Some people may have gotten the actual thing. And then they're using us to on a wide scale to test it.
Yeah. Oh, his
That yeah,
last
that
year.
might very well be a possibility. Like legitimately, I'm not. This isn't like tinfoil. This is like legitimate. Like that's what could they be doing? Because there's like some people who are like saying, "Oh yeah, I got it. Nothing happened. Everything was good." And then some people are like especially women who are saying like, "Oh yeah, like my period got all messed up."
Yeah, it's and honestly, Trump's last year was a fucking disaster.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
and honestly, like a lot of that is kind of his fault too. It's like, and I think it's just you are listening to the wrong people. You kind of wherever you had your finger on the pulse and you lost the pulse, and uh, yeah, it was bad. And even now, I still think like whatever happened during that year, his finger is no longer on the pulse. Like nothing. There's not a lot that he's been saying where I'm like, like I said, I'm one, he's too old. I'm not I'm not voting for the guy in the primary. Yeah, it's just I can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, right, because back when he was like campaigning in 2015 and stuff, yeah, he was saying stuff that everyone was like wanting someone to talk about, like yeah, the
No,
border and
whatever what he was saying was true. it's
Yeah, like
ugly.
talking about
He
the
just,
border, talking about vaccines,
all, yeah,
and
all
all
he
that
did.
stuff. But yeah, but
And,
like now he's just like kind of like that out of touch. He's the out of touch grandpa now. Like like in one of his rallies, he had like members of the Johnson and Johnson family up on the stage with him. Like
oh,
it's like
oh,
that
he got booed
Johnson and Johnson is great, so great. Just like and he
for
got
that.
fucking booed. This is like no man, no old man. Like no one wants the vaccine. Or at least no one wants it to be forced on us.
It's like it's like I was like, and like when people are like, oh, having Trump be our, the president back in the presidency in 2024 would be a disaster. Like all the people that hate him, it's like, yeah, I kind of agree. I'm saying, at this point, like I don't know, like it'd be really bad. I mean, it's
Yeah, I
not.
mean again, that's why I always say that you know when the subject of Trump comes up, I always say, yeah, Trump was great. He was my favorite comedian. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's how I viewed him. I didn't take him serious. Like I didn't take him all that seriously. He said some funny shit, and it made me laugh. And it made me, and I appreciate a lot of the policies that he was able to uh, get done. But it's just like, and
his
again,
funny
like
thing.
he wasn't my guy. He wasn't my guy at the start.
No,
I wasn't bought on like Trumpers. Like many people feared that yeah, he's running as a Republican, but he would just act as a Democrat because that's what he was his entire life.
because when he was running, I was like the guy that ran the USFL into the ground. Jesus.
The what?
So the USFL was it
Oh,
was a football league that played during the summer. It was kind of like opposed to the NFL
right.
and very popular. It was real popular. But when he became an owner of one of the teams, like he kind of like, oh, it's not right that the NFL like they have like all these like exclusive rights, and so he took the NFL to court and he won, but the cost ended up running the USFL into the ground. It's like, and
Hmm.
so you ruined this thing that people loved for what? For pride. So
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying he was wrong, but it's like you are a second tier league. You're not the NFL yet. It's
mhm.
very popular. It was making money, and actually a lot of like you know people that were being a lot of people that were being drafted by the NFL. They're like, I'd rather play for the USFL. Like I'm getting a better deal here, and I'm not gonna play for a shit team. And so yeah, like a lot of one of my favorite quarterbacks for the Buffalo Bills, he was drafted by the Buffalo Bills was Jim Kelly, who ended up becoming like an all-time quarterback. But he's like, I'm not going to Buffalo. Fuck that. I'm gonna go play in the USFL, and he was great. It was just like, but yeah, Trump kind of ran that league into the ground. Unfortunately, and I think had Trump not gotten involved, I think that league would have become something really big.
Mhm.
Uh, and like I said, he was right, but he was wrong. It was like the wrong time to do that.
Mhm.
There was a world
Yeah, I
where,
mean, arguably that's what he did in his last year too. It's like he took all the goodwill that you know, he he brought up, like like building the wall and doing all of like these um, criminal justice reforms and whatever, and bring make kind of create a more hospitable environment for businesses to come back to America. It's like all of that stuff is great. He did exactly what he was saying, but last year he just pissed it all the way.
yeah, that's where it's like it's yeah, it was just that last year was real bad. I was like, I'm, there's and like you had like the other thing that I really didn't like was we need to the prison reform thing that he did. I was like, no, that's a stupid idea. Why are we doing this?
Yeah,
It,
I mean, I kind of understand. The prison reform stuff is more like like more for optics than anything.
Yeah, but it's stupid.
But yeah, at a time when like
The
people,
effects of that right now.
what was it?
We're seeing the effects of that right now.
True. Yes, very true.
And they're not good, because what people don't realize, oh, he's just, he was doing 20 years because he had, some pot in his pocket. It's like, no, he pleaded down. It's like,
Right. Yeah. Because he was like, he should have been in jail for something greater, but he made a deal to roll on his homies, and give up a bigger fish than himself, and that's why he was in he was actually in there a lot less than what he actually deserved.
yeah, and it's like, if you actually look at the fucking cases of these people, it's like, that guy should not be out of prison. Like, yeah, he pleaded down. Okay, he helped put more people in jail, but this guy does not need to be on the streets. It's like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean,
It's stupid.
it's
like,
true.
what?
Yeah, like this. Yeah, like the whole like soft on crime. Like, in a weird way, yeah, Trump kind of ushered that in.
I'm not. It was happening already. He
Mhm.
just kind of like moved it forward even more. It's like, oh my god. That was like, for me, I was like, okay, that's the beginning of the end right there.
Right. And yeah, and I mean, like, yeah, but like, I would dare say that like the Democrats now are just like taking what he did and just like leapfrogging way ahead of of what Trump was doing. Like, I mean, like, what was it? There's like the story of that woman. I think Kim Kardashian like highlighted her and say like, oh, she was wrongfully accused or whatever, or like there was like some errors in the procedure, but like this woman was a monster. She like murdered her kids, and it's like, and it wasn't like an accident. Like she drowned, like she like I think drowned her kids like one at a time in a bathroom or whatever, in a bathtub.
Yeah, sure.
And so I mean, yeah, like so like the useful idiots are like kind of taking that and just like running with it.
Why anyone takes Kim Kardashian seriously, I have no fucking idea.
I know her ass is fake. All right, her ass is fake.
Her ass is fake. Her brain doesn't. She's not smart. She. Oh,
yeah. She made her money off of porn. All right, let's just be real. She made her money off of porn.
She fucked Ray J and videotaped it, and that's how she got famous.
Exactly.
Her dad was more famous.
Yeah, her dad is more like legitimately more famous than her, and her dad is rightfully famous.
Yeah. Just, how anyone takes that her fucking seriously, I don't get it. Yeah, does she make money? I no doubt about that. I'm not saying that she has not been successful. I'm not saying she's not successful. She is.
Yeah.
But she's an idiot.
Exactly. Well, I mean, since we're now getting into this, I think we should get into the next topic of discussion.
Yeah, a perfect transition. That's a great transition, Andy.
Great transition.
Speaking of sex tapes, let's talk about OnlyFans.
Let's talk about it indeed.
So there was I've kind of already. It's kind of like if you pay attention, it's already out there. I got, how many times on Twitter do I see all of these, people, these women on like Twitter and stuff promoting their OnlyFans, and and how, and those same women who are always like, I'm so sad. Why doesn't anybody be in a relationship with me? I'm a fun girl and like all this stuff, and I'd be a good girlfriend. And I'm so sad that nobody wants me. It's like, well, I can think of a reason why. It's like, I can think of a reason why, and
'cause you're a whore.
Yeah, because you're a whore. What? It's your best Al Pacino voice,
Right.
which I can't do. She's got a great ass.
Great ass.
I can't argue that a lot of them do have a great ass.
Yes.
But no, there was an article on the Daily Wire about how a lot of the women that created these OnlyFans accounts and showed their hoo-ha, hoo-ha, to the world, that they regret it. Oh no, color me surprised. It's like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah, obvious things are obvious.
And this just in, the sky is blue. Did you know that, Andy? I didn't know.
No.
Yeah, yeah. And water's wet. Who would have guessed that?
The heck you say?
Yeah.
The heck you say?
So, anyways, yeah, these women who created these OnlyFans accounts are regretting it. That some are angry because, why didn't people want to pay $2 for my OnlyFans account? I don't get it.
Right? Yeah, you kind of get the entitlement. Like, I'm creating this content. Why isn't anyone buying it? Just like,
because
it's almost like that same spirit, like when during the the 15-16 presidential run with Hillary Clinton, and she was making that address to like some labor union, where she's like, why aren't I up 15-16 points in the polls. It's the same spirit.
It really is. And in a way, I'm not saying that I don't feel bad for them, like, because some of them, they're regretting it, and they're trying to live a normal life, like they've deactivated their accounts, whatever. But it's out there. It's out there forever.
Right. Yeah.
And this whole idea of it's also funny too, where I was just watching a movie that we're definitely gonna talk about this movie down the line. It was called Before Sunrise, and the female character. Now, this is the female character in the movie that talks about this. Like, I actually think that feminism was created by men to trick women into just kind of sleeping with men promiscuously and like taking off their clothes for them. It's like, you got it. It's like, of course it was created by
well,
men.
I mean, if you really want to get technical, because feminism is just Marxism, repackaged, and and Marxism was started by Karl Marx. So yes, feminism was started up by a man.
Like, but I was just like, you got it. You got it. You figured it out.
You got me.
Oh darn! You're burning your bras. Oh no!
No, we hate that. We men hate when women's breasts like bounce uncontrollably.
You're exposing yourself on the internet. Shame on you.
Oh my god! How appalling!
Yeah, it's like
this is my nightmare. This is my nightmare.
God, I'm so appalled that like I get to see your hoo-ha, exposed on the internet. Jeez, what a disaster. It's like, yeah, what the hell did? But it's just funny that like they are wondering like why like men don't want to be with them and all this stuff. It's like,
or like why they get like such like vulgar like DMs or whatever. It's like you sexualize yourself and then you're surprised that other people sexualize you.
Okay, well, I'm going to say 70% of those DMs I think are completely fake. But like, but there's but I would say, yeah, there's probably like 30% that are legitimate. It's like, yeah, well, you kind of brought it on yourself, and not that like, not the whole like, you're blaming the victim. It's like, no, this is not the, well, what were you wearing type of like.
Yeah, argument. No, exactly, yeah.
It's like you're exposing your everything, out where everyone can see it. And there's weirdos out there. I'm sorry, there's perverts out there. We talk about perverts all the time on this show. It's like, and we're not celebrating perverts. We're making fun of them and saying how disgusting they are. And it's like, of course, that there's that element is gonna say dumb, crazy shit. What do
Right.
you
And
expect?
right.
This
And
is the profession you chose. Okay.
right. And it's like, and these women who like act surprised, when especially the ones who just start off, thinking like, oh, I'll just share some of the more spicier, photo shoots that I do, like where it's not like super pornographic, but then like, but like to stay competitive, they have to, like they just have to go more and more into like this like degenerate forest, you know, like, and they have to constantly like up the game. Like, oh, it's like, okay, so now it's like no longer just like topless shots, but now like they have to like show like, they have to show their, their cooter, and then they have to, it's not enough to just to show off like their entire naked body, but like they have to do like spread eagle, and then like it's not enough that they just spread eagle, that they have to include like another girl, and then it's not enough to just do like, to include another girl, but yeah, now you have to have two girls, and then like it's not enough to have just like two other girls with you. Then you have to start like making out with them, and then like, it's not enough that you just make out with them, that you have to like, have to rub oil on each other, and like, and on and on and on and on and on it goes.
Yeah, until like you're getting railed by like 5 people at the same time.
Exactly.
And
That's all it is. It's an escalation.
and it's bad for them. It's bad for the people that are that are injecting this content into themselves. It's just bad all around. It's bad for everybody.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, that that escalation is not okay. I think you guys know that I already admit this, that for purely, and again, this, and I'm not being funny, and I'm not trying to like, I'm not winking at the camera here, but I legitimately started following certain, Instagram people, on their OnlyFans, and that's literally the escalation. For pure, and I never paid for anything. I created an account, and I just like kind of followed, just for, just for my for research purposes, legitimate research purposes. And that's the escalation. First, it was just like, nude selfies or whatever, and then like constantly it just like escalated more and more and more. And so it's like, it's like these women are feeding into the culture that like, or the mentality that they supposedly are against.
Yeah, and it's like they're thinking like, oh well, this person made this amount of money, like I can do that. And it's like, well, yeah, no, like sometimes like a lot of these people that like start these things, they're already like bringing a certain amount of followership already with them.
Right.
It's like you're not going to compete with that. I'm sorry. It's
Right.
just it's not because like you're not like at this like you're not attractive
Yeah.
enough or whatever, like that's not the case. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you're very attractive, but the problem is that they're bringing a whole nother element into there that you don't have.
Right.
uh, and you know and to be honest, I hate the fact that like women degrade themselves, or they think they have to degrade themselves, like to do whatever. It's like there's nothing to me that is a failure of society as a whole, that is something that like they think they have to do. And this
Right. Yeah, and it's, it's like, yeah, it's the whole mentality where it's like, oh, well, like no, no man's gonna take care of me, so I gotta take care of myself, like by, by any means necessary, just like, that's such a that's such
horrible.
a that's a horrifying mentality to have, where it's like, oh, I can't depend on a man, so I'm gonna depend on myself, and and I'm gonna take care of myself in any by any means necessary, even you know to even exploiting my body, or even selling my body.
And like and I look at like my wife, and I know that she does have aspirations of things that she wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
And well, it's not sex work. That would be like fuck no, you're not doing any of that shit. uh but no, she has she has aspirations. She wants to be in the medical field. She wants to do medical massage and like kind of help people recover
Yeah,
from
physical therapy.
physical therapy to help people recover from their injuries, or people who are handicapped, stuff like that. She wants to be able to help them. I think that is a very admirable thing, and I'm all for it. Like, yeah, you pursue that. I want you to pursue that because that's what makes you happy. But if she had been in this type of business, I'd be like, oh, well, that shit's ending today. Once we're together, like, this is over. I don't care how much money you make. Uh, you're finding, if you feel like you need to have a profession, you're finding something else, because this ain't it. I ain't living with that. And there's a lot of guys that get involved with, they're scared to share, like, oh yeah, I had an OnlyFans, or I was a porn star, or I was this or that. And it's like, I'm scared to share with the person that I'm with now that I did this. It's like, you got to tell, well, you got to tell them sometime, because it's gonna expose itself at some
Right, it's
point.
gonna come out at some time.
I mentioned earlier that that movie, Girl Next Door. This is the same plot of that fucking movie.
Yeah.
Which it's so true. Like, now some guys are gonna be like, "Oh, that's awesome," like, what, they don't care. But there's a majority of men who be like, "I I don't want to be with someone that did this. This is terrible." And it's not because, like, they're being judgmental or whatever, but it's like, I don't think I would want to be with a I definitely know I would not want to be with, like, a former prostitute or porn star. It's no. It's just, I'm sorry. It's just, there's just no. I wouldn't want to deal with that. Because who knows, like, with some creepazoid out of the woodwork that, like, shows up and, you know, can, can't control himself, that, yeah, it's weird.
Right. I mean, what is it? It was a long time ago, but there was that story of that woman who was like I think it was like she was an up and coming like actress or model, and one of her stalkers, he just went to the DMV. He's like, hey, can I have this address to this girl's house? And they just gave it to him. I mean, nowadays, it's so easy to find information about things. I mean, like not like not like walking into a government building and just asking for, oh, can I have so and so's address? Like, no, but there other ways. You have a resume here, or you know um, you know uh, something with like your work address is on it. People
Yeah.
can find it on the internet, and it's like it's really easy to get information on people, and so it, we're no more safer than we were back then.
Yeah, that's the,
So yeah, and I mean, especially for women who are like, who are more, well, not more, but just in terms of like, I'm trying to say, in terms of like defensively, like they're at a disadvantage.
well, how easy is it for someone to get doxxed nowadays? It seems like it's happening all the fucking time.
Right, seriously. What is it? Um, like the person that runs Libs of TikTok,
Yeah.
she like this this no talent reporter was able to or she blasted the person that runs Libs of TikTok's work address on the internet, and it's like, oh, whoops, like that was an accident, we didn't mean to do that, and then
Bullshit.
also, yeah,
Yeah.
bullshit. And then she went and found addresses to uh, that person's like family members, and like went to go and like and harass them. So, and like this
Yeah.
is a woman doing this to another woman, and like, yeah, we're kind of diverging off like the OnlyFans thing, but this is like still relevant. It's still
Yeah.
relevant, especially like you know those women who have the blue check mark on Twitter or on Instagram or whatever, and they're like they're public figures, It's how easy would it be for anyone to just get find their address, who obsessively follow them, and like those who like who share their daily lives, and like is able to determine like where they live just from like posts that from their stories or whatever.
Yeah. And on the other side of it too, like, not only are these women being ruined in a lot of ways, and some of the women don't care, like, like they have bought into this lifestyle that's just something that they're gonna do. Okay, I can't really stop you there, but there's a lot of guys too who are having their lives ruined. Like, they're married or unmarried, and like, or they or whatever, but they're spending thousands of
Oh right,
dollars
yeah.
on these subscriptions.
The other side of that coin is the predatory nature of those women, who thrive off creating these parasocial connections.
Yeah, and then even on that side too, there's also there is there is an element of sex trafficking that's going on through this. So it's not necessarily the women that are targeting these men, but it's the people behind those women that are targeting these men. And there's that, and it's like they don't there's guys out there because they haven't had a real relationship uh in their entire life, just because they're socially awkward, or they just, for whatever reason, and so they think that these women are having a relationship with them. It's like, no, they're having a relationship with you because you're paying them.
Yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
hey, if yeah, my
Yeah,
subscription $10, but if you
yeah.
pay $30 a month,
Yeah,
you know
hence,
we
they create like these parasocial like connections or relationships with these men, and it's like, oh, it's just like, oh yeah, like if you really want to see my naughtier side, become one of my VIPs and da 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 da.
yeah, like it's kind of like, honestly, in a way,
Yeah,
this
it's
is
predatory.
a lot like a drug, where like if you have a lot of money, doesn't affect you. I mean, yeah, it does affect you in a way, but like your health, but but if you have the money, you can kind of feed the habit. Same thing here. If you have a lot of money, like you have a lot of extra income, you can feed that habit.
Yeah,
Whatever.
or if you're manipulated enough, where that you're actually like this, like that the message that this woman is sending you, you think that's like she's only sending it to you, like then you're a fool.
Yeah, it's like that's what, like, I don't understand. Like, you're not the only person in there.
Yeah,
They
you're not the
have
only one, like you're not the only one who has access. It's like it's not like this is a one-way like mirror, where it's like she's just on the other side. There's like a there's like one giant mirror, and like you're in your own like little partition, and like the guy on the other side of that partition has his own partition, and on and on and on, and you guys are looking through the same long ass mirror. you know
I
you
mean,
know
even when I was single, I had zero desperation in that sense. Like, I paid for the OnlyFans. Are you even no, God, you insane? Like, it's like I also don't have like this like connection where, like, with the kind of the online kind of stuff, where it's like, no, I don't feel like, yeah, do I have interaction with people? Certainly. It's not like, uh not with like these type of people, but like I do have interaction with people online, and like, well, it is very, it's fun. Like, I do have some fun conversations with people, but I wouldn't necessarily say that like they're like, oh, like, that this is my best friend. I don't have any other friends in the world. It's like, no, I have, like, I see you on nearly a weekly basis. I mean, yeah, we do this, but I actually see you in person.
Right.
And even like when I was single, it's like there was I had no desire and whatsoever to like, oh, I need to talk with the OnlyFans girls, or and like or some weird like subscription thing. It's like, no, it's like I'd rather have that money for myself. I'm not paying you. It's like,
Yeah.
so like
Yeah.
I said, it's just a bad. It's bad for everybody. It's bad for the women involved. And a lot of them are regretting doing it. It's bad for the people that are subscribing to this, men and women alike.
Mhm.
Uh, because it's probably ruining relationships in a lot of
Mhm.
ways. It's like you're wasting thousands of dollars that you may or may not have that could be spent better,
Yeah.
somewhere
I
else.
mean, yeah, for the man, bettering your life. Go take some classes. Go on a trip. Um, use that money on yourself.
Yeah, learn a skill, go on a trip, you know, find a hobby that you enjoy. Like,
Yeah,
it's
put your money into like a hobby. Like go like in drones or model airplanes or model shipbuilding. Hiking. Uh,
yeah,
cars for heaven's sake.
God, trust me, you can sink a lot of money into that. It's
Right,
like,
but at least you're not wasting it on a predatory system where you're being fooled into thinking that, oh, this person cares about me. Look at this naughty picture she sent me. It's like, this is how much she cares about me. It's like, no.
yeah,
Let's be real. The hour is late. Let's not speak falsely now.
yeah, it's really. I just and like I said, I see these people on Twitter too. Like, oh, I have an OnlyFans for this amount. Like, it's on it's I for this month, I have a discount. It's
I
like
know, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
next, like 10 tweets they have, or like how depressed and sad they are. It's like, I can gather a reason why that is.
Hmm. Yeah, and I'm not, and let's not, you know, and it's not the end of the world, all right? It's like, if you stopped right now and like you went and actually looked for a good man, you would be able to find, you'd be able to find them. There are more good men out there than there are bad. Despite someone's experience, these women's experiences. But you have to put in the effort, and you got to be honest, and you got to tell them, yeah, I have this past, and
Honestly, like if you're with a good person, like they will accept whatever your past might have be. It was like, but I'm not that person anymore. Great, okay. They're not gonna you're with a good person if they're like, they accept your faults from the past, and they're like, okay, that's what happened in the past, what's gonna happen for the future, like,
exactly,
what.
yeah, a good man won't care about your past, but he'll care about what you guys' future will be,
Yeah,
and so that's the man that you want to look for.
exactly, and they're out there. They are out there. It's same thing for you guys. Like, they're whatever your past might be. Like, maybe you
Yeah,
did
like
some.
yeah, like there's that viral clip of, I don't know what movie it is. I want to find out, but it's like the guy who's like, kind of laying it down, like why, you know, the the douchebag, like pickup artist is the one, like who just who like basically goes and screws anything that has a pulse. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's because that man that guy used to be a romantic, and he gave his heart away to a woman, and that woman crushed him. And so what he said, and but it's like there's truth in that, but it's just like that guy was a coward, because he got his heart stomped on once, and he was permanently damaged. And it's like the courageous man, the brave man, he's the one that picks up the remains of his heart and offers it to another woman, and and trust that she will be the one to mend his heart.
Well, isn't that the story of the movie we reviewed, The Ugly Truth? That's kind of exactly what happened.
That's right. Yeah.
You
Oh
know,
yeah,
and,
with
like,
Gerard Butler. Yeah.
yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Mhm.
Great fucking movie. That movie's so good.
Yeah, that movie is underrated. But
It's deep and it's funny.
yeah, so yeah, I mean, I don't know, like who's like our demographic is like 18 to 35, and like majority from India. So I mean, yeah, so I don't know if this will ever reach the ears of like these women doing OnlyFans, but
I'm sure there's people doing OnlyFans over there too.
Well, no, I mean, but the people who are watching this are men, are exclusively men.
Okay,
Our stream, yeah. So that's why I'm prefacing this by saying, like, I don't know if this will reach the ears of any of the women doing OnlyFans, but you can stop and you can find a good man. You just stop now and be honest with that man, saying, hey, I have this past, and if he shuns you, then he wasn't the one. All right, because there will be a man who will love you. He will love you who will love you deeply, and he will, again, he won't care about your past. He won't care about your past because he'll be too focused on you guys' future.
Yeah. And like I said, men, stop subscribing to this shit. Like, just stop.
Yeah. What is it? I love this thing that Jesse Lee Peterson described men. It's like, because one of his guys, I forget what it was, but he's like, oh, men could be sluts. Like, oh, no, men can't be sluts. Men are slut makers. So yeah, men, stop being slut makers.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, stop being slut makers. Whether you do the deed with them or not. If you're paying a woman to send you explicit photos of themselves or videos of themselves, then you are a slut maker.
Yeah, yeah. It can't argue with that. And Jesse Lee Peterson, legend.
I don't know. There was like some kerfuffle about like him possibly being gay or whatever, but whatever.
Jesse Lee Peterson?
Yeah, I don't know. There was like something where like, I don't know. I didn't like really look into it because it's like, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care. Like if it was like something from his past, then it's like, okay, but like if it is like, is it something that's like still continuing to happen? Like I haven't heard anything. It's always like some past allegation.
And does that necessarily change the truths that he's speaking?
Exactly. Yeah, the truth that he's speaking now.
Yeah. So that's all I got to say about that. It's just yeah, kind of no real surprise on our end, but I think it's an interesting story. And I don't know, maybe we are breaking out of this whole era of,
Well,
like,
I mean, we're correcting, and I don't know if because they say like all of this was like an overcorrection for like like the moral majority or whatever, but
I think we're gonna come back to like some sort of more semblance of sanity, and like not necessarily
right.
the Victorian era, but some sort of like at least
Right, some sort. I mean, I hate to say it, but some sort of middle ground.
yeah.
And again, I don't want like witch hunts, or I don't want to go around like beating up gay people or whatever.
No,
But of course, like everything in life, everything in balance.
I just want decency.
Right. Yeah. That's such a good way to put it. You just want decency. Like, do I advocate for the homosexual lifestyle? No, I'm not gonna go out and like beam them with a baseball bat. Um, you
Yeah.
know, do I want, you know, women who have like, who have done OnlyFans to be like stoned in the street? No.
No.
I just won't pay for it, and I won't advocate for
Exactly. It's
and that's like the middle ground that people are like, because like you might say like in the past, like, yeah, it was like too conservative or whatever, or too extreme like on the right, but now like the same argument could be made for like, no, actually it's a horseshoe, because it's like they're exactly in the same place, just on different sides, because like they're at, the left is calling for extremity, on going the other way. It's like, oh no, like, like there is no gender. It's like it doesn't matter. But ultimately, they are advocating for one gender, because they want, sameness. They want androgyny. You can say like, oh no, they're not. They say that there's like 72 genders. Like that doesn't matter, because ultimately it's gonna boil down to one. They're gonna say that there's no difference between man and woman. There's no difference between, unicorn gender to, dragon gender, and it's all gonna be one. So yeah, so it's gonna come back. It's like you can already feel it, especially with like the the push from like, the parents and all the school board stuff. The change is already happening.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like it's like completely on the backswing, but like we are definitely reaching like
People are tired of this shit.
right. It's like we are reaching the peak, and now like, like we will start feeling the backswing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think,
About that.
yeah, but like you said, we have, it's a return to. I'm not advocating for the pendulum to swing all the way back to the extreme end to the other side. Just decency, back to the center.
That's usually, honestly, like that's usually the answer to a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a balance. So all throughout time, there's been, all sorts of craziness, but like when the majority of people are kind of like at the center, that's when society can happen.
Mm-hmm.
We're probably gonna disagree on a lot of stuff, but that's okay. But we can still like live together, um, and enjoy life, and good things can happen. It's just you get these people who try to like yank that pendulum from one way or the other, and it's a fucking disaster.
Right.
Like just let the pendulum sit where it wants to sit, which is the middle.
Yeah, I mean, in a state of rest, yeah, the pendulum will be in the middle. And I think you're right. Yeah. We just need to wait for that backswing, and we really have to watch ourselves that again, it doesn't do like another crazy overcorrection.
Yeah, I don't think I would want to live in the Victorian era. Um, were there some good things in that time? Absolutely, but I don't think that like everything that happened back in that time is necessarily good. It created a lot of problems on its own.
Mm-hmm.
But this new weird liberal anything goes era sucks too, and it's very dangerous. And I think like I said, I think there can be.
It's weird though, because like anything goes, but then nothing goes. Because I mean, what
Yep.
was it? Just what is it? Just before we started streaming, I saw a story about how, this girl with like cerebral palsy like bashed Beyonce for like a song where like she uses the word spaz.
Oh God, is
And
that
so
her?
like yeah, and so she bitched about it on Twitter, and so Beyonce saw that and it's like, oh, you know, talking like, oh, calling out Beyonce, saying like, oh, how dare she use an ableist slur.
Okay.
And so Beyonce again, and then Beyonce responded and like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, put anyone down. I'm gonna, and she like Beyonce is gonna go back and take that word out of her song
Oh
over
my.
this.
Well, this happened to Lizzo too, by the way.
Yeah,
This is
yeah, yeah.
and
I'm not a big fan of Lizzo, but you know,
it's just like it's so.
I'm against censorship, for anybody,
It,
particularly artists.
and I'm sorry. I don't correlate spaz with cerebral palsy people. Okay. Spaz is more of like someone who like can't sit still and like they're always like moving.
Right, yeah, like spaz is short for sporadic or
Like
spat.
that's
So
like my wife is a spaz. I think you would agree with that.
yes, I would. And, and see, I'm no, Robert, you're not allowed to say it. All right, you're not allowed to say it.
Exactly. Well,
That's our word. That's our word.
yeah. Like it's like
Yeah, but it's like these people, like these kids these days, they haven't like faced any like real struggles. So like they have to bitch about this crap. I mean,
I'm
imagine if I got triggered every time someone like used hand or handle. It's like, oh, I don't know if you can you handle that. It's like, what? Excuse me? Did you just say hand? Excuse me?
there's that one stand-up comedian. I don't know if he's still doing stuff now, but he had cerebral palsy, and he's one of the funniest fucking people I've listened to. He's one of the funniest stand-up comedians, and I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. But it's like, who wouldn't be offended by the word spaz? That
That
dude.
guy.
And he like I said, he has cerebral palsy. It's not. It's like it's
Right,
no like
it's obvious.
it's no mystery. And he plays into that. He's like, yeah, I move in weird ways. It's like no one correlated cerebral palsy with the word spaz. I'm sorry, that's not how that word has been used. It's a fake thing that they're trying to make a thing, and because we have become the society where it's like one person said this to me. Oh God, I gotta change my ways. It's like, I'm sorry, no. Why should, I don't like Lizzo, I don't like Beyonce, but like they're on another level. Why the fuck are they gonna listen to this one person? Like, I would tell them, it's like, you know what, go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
That's
don't listen. Then don't listen to me.
yeah. The song
It's
about
like yeah, it's kind of like that that comment Matt Getz made recently, about like, oh, like, all these fat, out of shape, pink haired, women who are screaming about like, oh, like no sex and no sex until we get reproductive rights, and like a reporter and it's like, and he's like why are they worried about getting pregnant, and it's like, these fat ugly people, and then this reporter was saying like, do you like, it's like, what do you say to people who are offended by your word? Like, get offended. It's like, be offended. I don't care.
yeah, it's like, sorry, no one's trying to fuck those people at all.
Yeah. Although funny enough, some fat thumb looking person did what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Crowdfund off of that, and like she raised like, I don't know, a lot of money, which she's now donating to like Planned Parenthood or whatever.
Of course you.
Yeah. But yeah, get wrecked, bitches.
Yeah.
All right.
So I guess
That's the end of topics. So
yeah.
yeah.
Movie review time.
Yeah. So movie review. Just to remind you guys, it is this month's theme is black and white. So we will be reviewing black and white movies, not necessarily old black and white movies, because we do have one.
Decades, I would say.
Yeah, through the decades, black and white through the decades. So,
why don't you give the
but
synopsis?
tonight,
We'll go from there. I'm going to use the bathroom.
all right, right. So, yeah, to start us off, we'll be reviewing The Postman Always Rings Twice, starring Lana Turner and John Garfield, along with Cecil Kellaway and Leon Ames. Nick Smith, a middle-aged roadside diner owner, hires a drifter, Frank Chambers, to work at his restaurant. Frank quickly begins an affair with Nick's beautiful young wife, Cora, and the two conspire to kill Nick and seize his assets. When they succeed, local prosecutor Kyle Sackett becomes suspicious, but is unable to build a solid case. However, the couple soon realize that no misdeed ever goes truly unpunished. This movie was released in May of 1946, directed by Tay Garnett. This was adapted from a book of the same title and was distributed by MGM. The story was written by James M. Cain. All right, yeah, I just hit them all with a synopsis.
Oh yeah, so a couple of the production notes that I found about this movie. So I think Lana Turner was the first and only person considered for the role of Cora, and her performance was loved so much. The author loved her performance so much that he actually gave her a special leather-bound version of his book that he signed personally, saying that thank you for your performance. Like you presented this character better than I could ever have imagined. So there was that. I think was it for the role that John Garfield, in for Frank Chambers. So Joel McCrea, he's a kind of guy who's been in a lot of like Western and stuff like that. He was really offered the role, but he turned it down. They also offered the role to Gregory Peck, which I'm sorry, I don't. As much as I love Gregory Peck, no, I can't see him as the bad guy in this, because he is kind of like this guy is kind of a swarmy.
Right.
I mean,
a man really without scruples. I would classify Frank Chambers.
Yeah,
a man without scruples.
We've watched movies like The Gunfighter where he's kind of like the anti-hero, but like that's not this role at all. Like Frank Chambers is not an anti-hero in any way.
Right.
So yeah, Gregory Peck. Sorry, like as much as I love him, he'd be bad for this role. And so they ended up getting John Garfield, who they had the production company had to borrow him from Warner Brothers, and actually Cecil Kellaway was borrowed from Paramount as well. And so when Lana Turner found out that they had hired John Garfield, her question was like, could they hire at least someone attractive?
Oh damn, that's a slam.
No, which is funny because during their time together doing this movie, there was some like crazy sexual chemistry between them, like and everyone knew it, like, which is so weird that she would say something like this, because they ended up having a very short affair together, and because they ended up not having, after they kind of fucked, they didn't really have this, they didn't feel like, oh, we don't really have good sexual chemistry together, so they just ended up becoming friends. But it's just like, that's funny, like that she said something, like,
yeah, I know.
somebody attractive.
Like, yeah, could you get someone good looking?
Yeah, that's what a burn.
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, no, this actually is not the first adaptation of Cain's novel. this is the first American adaptation of it, and it's the first one that has the title of the book.
Mhm.
But there was a French version and an Italian version. I think the French version was let me see. I did have that here. The French version was the French version came out in 1939. It was titled Le Dernier Tournant, The Last Turning, and as Obsession in Italy in 1943. This came out 3 years later. This also ended up becoming like a play that that was, a lot of famous actors ended up performing, like Joseph Cotton was part of, like, the play that ran at the Lyceum Theater. Most of this was actually filmed. Like, a lot of the beach scenes were filmed at Laguna Beach, though there were troubles there because fog kept rolling in, and so they couldn't film a lot of the scenes. So they had to take time off. The director, who was an alcoholic, ended up, because of all the delay, because they went from Laguna Beach, then they were like, oh, well, why don't we go to San Clemente, which is near San Diego,
Right.
and then the fog would roll in there. It's like, fuck, it's like we're wasting weeks of filming here, and so he ended up being stuck in his hotel room, would drink and nearly drink himself, would get wasted, and it took Garfield and Turner ended up like, hey, let's get you to a rehab center. And by the time he got out of it, and then they went back to Laguna Beach, the fog cleared. It's like, all right, now we can start filming. It's like, so they did all the beach scenes for the most part were done at Laguna Beach. um let's see, was there anything else from the film that I found interesting? That was pretty much it. As far as like pre-production stuff that happened behind the scenes. I'm trying to think of, like, there is the lawyer who, what the hell was his name? The guy that played by Hume Croyne, who played Arthur Keats. I feel like I've seen a bunch of things, but I can't place him.
Yeah, he was in a bunch of stuff. He was actually in well, he did Cocoon, and then he also did the remake of 12 Angry Men.
He did the He did the remake of 12 Angry Men.
Yeah, he was
7.
Yeah, he was juror number 7. He was like
in the remake.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no, because when I was watching it, I was like, damn, man, this guy looks familiar. And then I looked him up, and like, yeah, he was in a bunch of movies.
Fucking
yeah, he was in Cocoon. He was in Cocoon: The Return. He was in Batteries Not Included.
Get out of here.
That's what it says.
No way. I knew I recognized the guy. I was like, I know he's been in a bunch of shit. He's one of those actors where you're like, yeah, that's the guy from The Thing. It's like he's been in so many things you forget. And the director of the film, he I was looking at his list.
Whoa, he's in Cleopatra too.
Cleopatra, he was.
That's what his credits say.
The Liz Taylor Cleopatra.
That's the one.
Here. Fuck, dude! Like, I knew that guy. I know I've seen that guy in like a billion things. I was like, where have I seen him before? But the director, I was looking at his list. Tay Garnett. This is probably his best film. I looked at all his. He's done a ton of things, but I was like, I don't know any of those films other than this one. So that's pretty much all I have on the kind of like behind the scenes stuff for the film. But why don't we get into the film itself? What made you choose this? I think we kind of touched on it a little bit.
Yeah, we talked about it before before we started streaming. Uh, but this is one of those movies that you kept hearing about in other movies. Um, More recently, in Kill Bill Volume 2, it's a scene where Beatrix Kiddo goes and is looking for Bill, and she goes to talk to Bill's, kind of like surrogate father figure in
Yeah.
Esteban Vallejo, I believe, is the character's name. Um, um, and he after a little bit discussion, talking with Beatrix a little bit, he recounts an anecdote of when Bill was a little kid, and he took him to the movies, and the movie happened to be, the postman always rings twice. And
Right.
then he goes on to say that, oh, whenever Lana Turner came on screen, Bill would compulsively begin to suck his thumb, and that's when I knew that this boy would be a fool for blondes.
God.
And
And he
seeing Lana Turner in this movie, I understand Bill. I understand Bill.
this is actually because this was Lana Turner had already been like pretty famous before this movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
But this is she felt was her first very serious role where she wasn't just the woman to be ogled at.
Mm-hmm.
She actually had like a real role, and it
Mm-hmm.
was very serious. And this, like I said, this is one of her personal favorite performances. She loved being in this film. She loved the character, and she really enjoyed her time doing this film. And this is really like this is the start of her peak because she rivaled um like Liz Taylor and like a lot of the big starlets of the time.
Mm-hmm.
uh and it's kind of like unfortunate because she did have kind of that Liz Taylor lifestyle. She married a bunch of times, got divorced a bunch of times, got involved with had a lot of affairs, a lot of smoking and drinking.
Substance abuse.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate because I mean she did have a super long career.
Mm-hmm.
She had a 50-year long career pretty much, but it's just it's like it's kind of like, man, yeah, it's like what could have been had she been more had more like a clean lifestyle, not been involved with all these people and kind of just because she did deal with a lot of these like controversies throughout her lifetime, similar to like Liz Taylor and like a lot of the starlets that we talk about. um and it does kind of tie into like the OnlyFans of the time, the casting couch, and selling yourself for a career in the film industry. But yeah, just kind of but this is really like kind of the real start of her career. This is one of the films that really took her into stardom, and this film is so fucking dark. Uh, but I will say that I do like this over the original for a lot of reasons, or sorry, over the remake for a lot of reasons. Uh, just because, for one, so the premise of the film is you have Lana Turner, who is the young wife to this older man
Mm-hmm.
who runs this diner
This
bar,
roadside diner, yeah.
this rest stop. And there's this young guy that like is kind of he's a drifter, and all this stuff. So like it's and from this from the way that this film plays out, like she gets attracted to this drifter, and over the course of like she's not really in love with her husband. It was more of a marriage of convenience. And like she was afraid of being alone, so it's like she wanted to marry, and her idea, she has ambitions, and she felt that by marrying this older guy who has a business, where it's like, I'm gonna make something of this business. That's her goal. And but then she does meet this young drifter who is of her age, and she's physically attracted to him, and things happen. But as bad as that is, it doesn't jump from like, fuck my husband, I'm gonna kill him, and like the remake does. The remake, it kind of jumps into like the, oh, we got to kill your husband right away kind of. And it's way too gratuitous, the remake. And actually, Lana Turner even said like she refused to watch the remake because she's like, fuck that movie, that movie sucks, I'm not gonna watch it. And I agree with her in a lot of ways, because she's right. It's not a bad movie, but it's like, it doesn't deserve, like, it should be
Well,
its own movie.
I haven't seen it, but from how you describe it, and then in the quotations of Lana Turner, it doesn't take its time to get to you
No,
know
it has
to that point where it the movie like changes, because it definitely does like when they decide like they're gonna kill was it Nick?
yeah,
It definitely feels like it switches gears, and
yeah,
like, initially it feels like these two people who are obviously in love with each other, and they steal moments here and there, and like knowing glances, and you think that it's gonna be like one of those where like they're just gonna run off to, like they even do it, like they decide that they're gonna run off together, but when things get just a little bit too rough, she decides that she wants to go back. And then like there's that scene where like Nick is like loaded, and he almost gets you know he almost smashes into an oncoming truck, and that's when really the movie takes off.
yeah. That's where, like, I feel like that's why the original is better. It takes its time. It's not like where, because in the remake, Jack Nicholson, like, who's playing Frank Chambers, he essentially rapes her. And it's so gratuitous,
Mhm.
and it's like, right, and like, oh, I'm in, even though you raped me, like I'm into you. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is stupid. you know it's too gratuitous. It doesn't take its time. It doesn't deserve what it's trying to get the audience to.
Mhm.
And there's nothing that, like, the older husband does that, like, should be like anything where, like, there'd be any reason to do this. And
Right. It isn't.
whereas,
He's not like a jerk, or he doesn't treat her bad. At least in this version. I don't know
yeah,
about the remake, but yeah, it's like you know.
kind of like, he's just like, I would say he's more, well. And the other thing, they turned him to, like, a Greek guy instead of a Canadian,
Mhm.
which I was like, it just, whatever. It's stupid. I really hate I agree. I hate the remake. It sucks. But this one, what I
Anyways.
like is that the characters are not. Would I say that Cora is unhappy? Absolutely. I don't think that she's happy being there, but at the same time, she's like, I think she's okay with her predicament. Like, it's like, this is what
Right.
I've
Well, I
chosen.
mean, yeah, judging, just going by how she described like her life previous to Nick, it wasn't that great. It wasn't like she had all these opportunities or these advantages. I mean,
She was
other than her physical beauty, of course.
she was an OnlyFans creator.
Or he's the one simp that was able to land the OnlyFans model.
Exactly.
You know.
Anyways, but I would say that, like, had Frank not presented himself,
Or
I
come
think that,
along. Yeah.
yeah, she would have lived her life kind of just like, this is my life,
Mhm.
whatever, that this is what it is. But Frank comes along, and he's kind of this drifter, has a lot of ideals, and his feet get itchy. Like he's
Yeah,
always
or like yeah,
one.
he has a certain romantic philosophy about life and like not being tied down in one place and always
He
always like going always seeking what's beyond the next horizon and it's very romantic. Don't get me wrong, but not
he he's probably like the inspiration for like a Jack Kerouac novel. Was On the Road or whatever the fuck
yeah.
that stupid novel is.
Hmm.
It's a bad movie. It's a bad novel. I've read it. It sucks. But anyways, it's kind of like that ideal where it's like he's always like on the go, and he's not satisfied with anything, and but I think a lot of the reason he says like, because I think he assumes that initially that is the daughter of the owner of that
Right,
diner
yeah,
restaurant.
yeah. He thinks that Cora is Nick's daughter, but
Yeah, and it's like it turns out, oh yeah, that's my wife. It's like shit.
yeah,
It's
and, then
like
you see that where it's like when Nick has Frank burn the help wanted sign, he sees Cora and it's like, oh yeah, absolutely. He's like, oh, that's my wife. And it's like, oh, and he has that moment where he's like, he was about to like pick up that sign out of the fire.
yeah.
But I guess he thought that the juice would be worth the squeeze.
Yeah, so but like they have like there's definitely a connection between them, and the fact that I learned that connection like was actually that connection that spark whatever that they had between
It
each
was
other.
also
Oh,
off screen.
yeah, it's like, oh, it makes so much sense because you feel
Oh
like the
yeah, yeah.
chemistry between it's like, oh shit, like the Thunderbolt, Godfather, like where it's like where Michael Corleone has a thunderbolt with Apollonia.
Hmm.
It's like you feel the thunderbolt like, between those two. It's definitely there.
Right.
So you have that moment, and there is kind of like these close moments, and there there's that time at the beach together, and there's that kiss, and it's like, oh crap, like they're falling for each other,
Hmm.
and she he wants to be with her and she wants to be with him, but there's like, and Nick is he's so focused on the business. It's like he doesn't, it's not that he is being like negligent in a way, but like he's an older guy. Like he probably doesn't have that drive, for like a desire for his wife or whatever. Like I'm sure she's very unsatisfied physically.
Hmm.
So there's that aspect of it.
Hmm.
He's a guy, what, maybe in his 50s,
Yeah,
if not
50s. Oh
60s.
yeah, like the synopsis describes him a man in his middle age. So yeah, 50s.
Yeah, and what, she's like in her 20s.
Hmm.
I would say probably in her 20s.
Right. I mean, yeah, and it's like he's her like she's the cement that's freshly poured. His is the cement that's all but cured.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, exactly.
and so and no greater example is that as like when he lays out the next stage in their life together, and that is like to go and like live with his sister and like and she'll take care of his sister.
Oh,
Um,
see, I think it's the degradation is that scene like where he is so worried about like how he's getting gouged by like the meat guy, and like she's just so he's sitting down, and like his head is positioned at like where the bottom of the stairs are, and she's standing above him with her arms crossed, and she's like, because she has higher ambitions than he does,
mm,
and so she's just sitting there above him. It's like her arms crossed, and like that scene, he never looks at her. She's trying to connect with him, and he's having none of it. Like he's so focused on like, I'm getting gouged by the meat guy. This is crazy.
well, yeah, I mean that,
And
but again, illustrating again like the difference in like the stages in their life, because he's an older dude, so he's more set in his ways, whereas she is like young and vital, and and still has great ambition for her life. Um, so yeah, and I think I think the real like turning point was when when he was saying like, oh yeah, like we're gonna go move in with my sister, and you're gonna take care of her, and I'm gonna sell the business, and we'll be able to live comfortably. But it's like, but that's just him. He'll be able to live comfortably. She'll be having to, wait, hand and foot on her, the sister-in-law, essentially.
Yeah,
And so
and
and like just
I
like
think too, like,
and just being confronted with that like reality where like she like if she stays with him, then that's going to be her life. There's not going to be another opportunity to better her situation,
well,
or to what is it, or fully pursue like her own desires.
yeah, because she always had ambitions. Because even like it's like, oh, okay, there's nothing for me here. Like, I want to be with Frank, but then like she sees his derelict, transient ways, and it's like, no, I'm not gonna move to another city and like have start from scratch. Like that's just not gonna happen. And so she decides like, we need to go back, or I'm going back. You can come with me if you want, but like I'm going back. And at least it's not much, but like at least here, like I have something that I can build on. And when she does, essentially, this all happens under Nick's nose,
Mm-hmm.
and so he doesn't know anything that's going on, like the potential, like that she's gonna leave him. But the betrayal of like him, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sell the business, and we're gonna move back to Canada, and we're gonna take care of my invalid sister, and like everything's just gonna be peachy keen. It's like, and she's like feels so betrayed. It's like, I have aspirations for this fucking diner, and you're just gonna sell the place like without like even like talking to me about it. Are you kidding me? And that's where like she gets the idea to like, I need to kill this guy. And that's where it's like, Frank and we're gonna kill him. We're gonna work together to kill him. And I'm gonna have we're gonna make this happen. Uh, and see, so at least see here's what I like about it. See, we have the build up to this moment. The remake does not have this build up. It just happens like right off the fucking bat, which is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So they have that
Right.
build up where it's
Right.
okay.
Yeah, and it's really great too, because like you have all these moments like even prior to like Nick's announcement that that he's gonna sell the business and they're gonna move in to take care of his sister. But it's like, yeah, these like knowing glances and stuff, and just like where it's like like Nick is practically gifting Cora to her, to Frank in a ways. There's like that scene where like they're like in the parlor together, and like oh, let's dance, but then like you know uh Nick doesn't want to dance, but he's like, oh yeah, go dance with Frank. And it's like it's like the biggest putts in the world. It's like young man, young woman, like it's like again practically just like gifting Cora to Frank.
Do you feel bad for Nick in any way?
Not really. I mean, yeah, like what happens to him is like really fucked up. But he does like the way Nick is portrayed. He's not that much of a sympathetic character. When I really think about it.
I'll be honest, like I was like, I understand, like you were an older man that married a younger woman who was attractive, but you're very you're either very stupid
Obtuse.
or negligent.
Mm-hmm.
Where like you like, now had he married somebody like his near his own age,
Mhm.
and it's like, yeah, obviously, like, the way that you act, that's probably gonna be fine. But you marry someone like probably 25 years your junior,
Mhm.
you gotta pay attention to them. I'm sorry. It's just you gotta. Hell, I'm married to someone that's 7 years younger than me, like, and she, if I'm not paying attention to my wife, it's a big fucking deal. I'm sorry, it just is. It's a problem. And that's 7 years, not 25.
Yeah, no, it's yeah. So in a way, like you like like yeah, Nick is not a sympathetic character. Like I know he might be like he might maybe supposed to have been, but he really isn't.
And it's not that Cora and Frank are good people either, but it's just
No,
like,
no, but yeah. So here's this guy who's like kind of oblivious to his wife's needs or desires, and it's all it's just all about like his own business, and
is that all he cares about? You think?
I mean, in the entire movie, all he does is pay like give his attention to the business. Like when like he thinks he's being shortchanged by the meat guy or the laundry service or the electric company. It's always about that business.
Actually, to be honest, I don't even know if he cares about the business, because, like, oh man, this guy's been gouging me for years. How did I not see it? It's like, what the fuck are you paying attention to then?
I guess so. Yeah.
I don't think Nick has paid attention to anything in years, because he's like, or like, he's believing that. I think he's the most gullible person in the world, because he's getting screwed over by all the people that, like, all of the vendors, the electric company, or at least that's his percent. He finally, he's getting too old. It's like, wow, why am I getting charged this amount? Like, where it's like it's probably just like kind of the normal, like, as inflation increases, it's like, oh wow, why am I getting charged more? It doesn't make any sense. And then it's like,
Hmm.
at the same time, it's like he's so oblivious to everything. And it's like, I don't
True.
feel sorry for him.
Right. Again, he might have been supposed to be a sympathetic character, but he really isn't.
I think he is what I would say, like, uh, the dumbest successful person in the movie. He might be the dumbest successful person in film history.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. He
because
kind of he kind of like he almost like it might be like a case of like Forrest Gumping his way to success.
yeah, because even the point where it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna, they're gonna build a highway around here, and I'm just gonna sell the business for a great price. Is like, you moron, you're gonna make more money by keeping the business. By where they're gonna build a major highway, not destroy your business, but, like, build your business. Why are you selling? Are you insane?
Yeah, like
You fucking moron.
think of more of like the things like the more hamburgers you sell, the more gas you're gonna sell. The
You're gonna
the rooms that you'll be able to rent out to.
Yeah, your business is going to be worth 4 times that amount. This is not the Bates Motel where they build, like, the highway, around your business, like, where no one's going to come by you. You fucking moron. It's like, I don't feel at first I felt bad for Nick, but, like, after I was thinking about it, I was like, no, he's an idiot. It's like, he's dumb.
Yeah, I mean you might okay then maybe it was like the only like the little success they did have may have been all Cora's work. Because
I
she's the one who's always wearing that that Twin Oaks uniform thing, and
Come on,
and
yeah.
seems to be doing working. Nick is always like off, you know, yelling at vendors or or service people about like his bill.
Yeah, it's like now that I think about it, it's like he's a fucking idiot who doesn't, like, I think the only reason he has any sort of success that he has is because of Cora, and because the fact that he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sell my business now that the highway is gonna come through, even though like it's not like they're trying to buy my land to build the highway there. They're building the highway like where people are gonna be coming by my business all the fucking time. Time to sell. No, dummy, fucking wake up. And that's why Cora's so pissed, and it's like, I'm fucking bastard. It's like I put up with so much shit for probably what, like 5 years of his stupidity. It's like at first I was like, this is a very dark movie, but it's like, honestly, if I was Cora, I think I'd kill this guy too. It's like, he's got to go. It's like, this. I built this business to what it is, and it's gonna be even better if we stay. Fuck this guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Frank really, like, it's not. Frank has nothing to. I don't think Frank has anything to do with this. I don't think that plays into her decision at all. I think it's like, yeah, I'm gonna. Frank is kind of her aide in this, but like, and I think she likes Frank, and wants to be with him. But I think that's so. Now that I think about it, it's secondary to the plot. This is Cora. Like, Cora wants to make this business into something. She has visions. She wants to make this very successful business, and to make something of herself, to have something to her name. And the only way to do that is to kill Nick.
Very likely, yes.
And see, this is the part of the movie. This is the plot to the movie that is absent to the remake. The remake completely skips that idea.
Hmm.
It plays
Right.
it's
It's
more about
more about the love affair, right?
that's exactly what it plays. That's what, that's the problem I have with it. That's all it cares about is the fucking love affair, and that's not the point of the movie.
Right. It's really like the love affair is really weak because like even in this version with Lana Turner, yeah, like it the love story is immediately almost like discarded in the second half of this movie where it's like all about like the murder plot um and like trying to get basically trying to get away with murder.
Yeah, and in a way, like unknowingly, Frank betrays her.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like and yeah, and you might say like you might argue that the love affair, like the love story, is like still like kind of there underneath simmering, but it's like it's not really that important. It's like
Yeah,
these are two people who in the second half, they inadvertently flip on each other because you know of a tactic that the DA, the district attorney, uses to turn on each other. And so like in the latter half of the movie, it's like these two people are living together, but they don't trust each other anymore.
yeah, and like they do this thing. It's like, I need to trust you, but like I don't trust you at the same time. And
Mm-hmm.
so like they're kind of like they goes through like where the narrative that Frank gives is like they spend it's like almost like a month, like 2 months of like them just kind of like we're just doing the business. There's no interaction between them,
Mm-hmm.
and then it kind of builds up again. It's like I still have feelings for you, but I need to know I can trust you. And I think like obviously the after the whole court case, whatever, there's that defense attorney inventor who tries to blackmail them, and Frank kind of is like, fuck this guy. We're gonna, he kind of like, call, he turns the tables on that guy. And that's where it's like, I think Cora starts to have feeling, it starts to like re-feel that like, okay, I still have those, physical feelings for Frank, but can we trust each other? And they go through this process of like, trying to trust each other again. And, the love affair builds again. And that's where like the whole idea where she gets pregnant, and they're gonna start building this life together.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where the tragedy of the movie happens, where you and the idea of the postman always rings twice. This is the only version of, as far as I know, all four movies, the Italian, the French, and the remake, where it's like they end up getting into an accident just because they're Frank's not paying attention to the road as they're driving along. They get into an accident, she dies,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, oh, it's like he gets accused of murdering Cora,
Mm-hmm.
and not only like Cora, but obviously their child,
Yeah.
and they're not believing him this time. It's like it's too coincidental that like Nick dies and now Cora dies. Like what's going on there? It's
Mm-hmm.
and so really the because we get Frank's narrative throughout this movie. What we
Right.
find
Well,
out,
yeah. Well, we find out like the entire movie is basically him recounting the tale to a priest because he's on death row.
yeah, because he's confessing,
Mm.
and that's where he understands like the postman always rings twice. It's like things always come back. They're things always come back around.
Mm.
To your to like what's supposed to happen, and I should have been on death row because of killing Nick, or being part of killing Nick,
Mm.
and even though I didn't kill. I had no there was no I didn't want her to be dead. I wanted to be with her,
Mm.
and that was more important. Do you think thinks that I killed her, and like you think she'll forgive me? That was important in his mind. It's like I'm really on death row.
Oh, did we lose Robert? Okay.
Kill me for killing for Cora's death, but it's
Mm.
really because I killed Nick, not
Right.
because I killed Cora.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why this is the best version of all four. I can't say that I've seen the Italian and French version, although I'm curious to watch them if they exist.
Mm-hmm.
But even like they don't have the same titles, and I'm pretty sure they probably take some sort of a lot of liberties.
Right.
But I would say that this is the definitive version of this film that everyone kind of remembers.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't, I honestly, I hear as much as people talk about French and Italian films, I hear zero about those versions of this film.
Right. Right. I mean, to the point where yeah, this is one movie, but like, yeah, even Kill Bill, they reference this movie, not. Well, no, he would have been too. He's too old for
Not
the
the
newer
Italian.
version. But yeah, but like not, but like it's not the Italian version. It's not the French version.
Yeah, this is like I said. This is the version that's the most popular, probably the best. And hell, the fact that the guy that wrote the fucking novel
Mm-hmm.
is saying that like the way that Lana Turner presented his the character of Cora
Mm-hmm.
was you did the best job. Like
Right.
he was so happy with her portrayal of the character of Cora that like he gave her a special he created a special version of his book and like dedicated it to her. That means everything. Kane was so happy with this version of the film that like
Mm-hmm.
he was like, yeah, this is you guys are amazing. You guys did a great job. And even
Yeah.
like honestly, like I think if Kane, because I don't know if he was still alive when the remake was done.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, Kane, the remake was done more time period correct, not as a kind of contemporary piece
Mm-hmm.
as it was in the 40s. It's not as good of a film. It's not that Jack Nicholson and Jessica Lange and like the characters that were in that movie did a bad job, because they didn't do a bad job. It was good acting, but the movie just is not good. The writing is bad.
Mm.
And if, like I said, the whole focus is on the fucking love affair, and that's not what this movie is about. It really isn't. I think the remake completely misses the point.
Right. Yeah. They're probably missing the forest for the trees.
Yeah, I mean, don't the love affair is part of it, sure, but that's not the point. Like this is a film about Cora and like her ambition,
Hmm. Or it's a
and like
warning. It's a warning of unchecked female ambition.
yeah, it's the negligence that like her husband pays her. I mean, and the negligence is definitely there in the remake, but that's not like it's not the same thing. It's just, there. It's really not the same thing. Now, it's not like it's not as bad as Wyatt Earp. Uh, no, it's not. Uh, it is like I said, it's not a bad movie. It's not,
Mhm.
but it has the same like I have the same problems I have with the remake of Lolita.
Mm.
It's way too gratuitous. That it doesn't need to be that explicit of a film,
Mhm.
and it's also missing the point. Like where it's like it's so focused on the sexual aspect of it,
Mhm.
and like oh now that we we're free of the for the most part the censorship, we
Mhm.
can be more explicit and show this. It's like that's not the point.
Right.
Like the fact yeah, we know it's happening in the originals, like in Lolita from 62 and from this film from 46. We know the love affair is happening. We
Mhm.
don't need to see it. We're wasting time like showing the sex scenes. We don't need it. It's like focus on the actual story, like what's important.
Man, what a unique podcast we have. We tell women not to be sluts, and we are angry when there's too much sex in movies.
Yeah, it's and I'm not opposed to like I said, I'm not opposed to sex in movies if it is important to the story. Like I wasn't upset in Eyes Wide Shut where we're exposed to sex the entire fucking movie. It's all around, but
Mhm.
the fact that they're showing it is actually important to the story because
Right.
if it wasn't there, it's like what's the why are we like
Right. Like if you
why
make a movie about secret sex cults, but then you don't show any of the sex, then
it's
what's the point?
another movie that I was thinking about like that is also kind of very or I'm sorry not a movie but like a series like Game of Thrones. Sex is a huge part of that series, and it's
Mhm.
important that they show it because it's actually it is an important part of the story. It's not just like oh we're on HBO let's show the sex scenes like and it's like never in the book. It's like no it's actually it's in the book and it's important to the story and we need to see it and it's uncomfortable. I don't like it's like I'm not like turned on by the sex scenes. It's uncomfortable. It's fucked up.
Yeah, or it's like the first did you see watch Westworld yet? The TV show.
No, I haven't seen
Okay.
Westworld just yet. It's on I'm gonna watch it very soon.
Okay. Well, because it's kind of like it's a question that is asked in that show about like if they're real because like the hosts, that's what they call like the robots,
Yeah.
like when they're being serviced, like they're not wearing any clothes, and so it's like, and then there's like a scene in the TV show where like one of the technicians like tries to cover up one of the female hosts like nakedness, and like Anthony
Uh,
Hopkins is like, "What the hell are you doing? Like they're not human beings," and like pulls like the sheet off of the female host. It's like they're not people. And
well,
so it's
they,
like
they
so like again like that nudity, I guess it's not sex, but like that nudity is important, like
oh,
to
right.
like to the show where
They,
it's like they're showing that like that they don't see that these human form entities aren't humans.
And they do imply that, like, that kind of thing in the original movie from the 70s. It's like there is that element to it where it's like, yeah, I could see where they expound upon that in the series, where it would be like it's not out of place for them to for that to be a part of the series,
Right.
And yeah, see, I would not be opposed to that, because yeah, it is kind of an element, like, is that what is real, what is not. And like, because the main character in the original movie, he's very uncomfortable with this. Like, are they humans? Are they robots? Like, is this okay? And like, he's really struggling with it. Like, and it's like he gives in, but even then, it's like he's talking with James Brolin, and it's like, who's his friend? It's like, is this okay? Like, he's so concerned about it. It's like he feels so weird about it. And but like, so that's an actual important aspect to the film that of course, like, when that censorship kind of escapes, when you can do it in like the show, is like you can show that nudity. It's like that's actually, like, that's not out of the storyline. And yeah, see, like, but like in this film, we don't necessarily need to see it, because that's not the important aspect. The sex is not the importance of the film. We know it's there. We know it's there, because it's just like, it's not the important aspect of the film. It can be cut. It doesn't need to be there. That's what I'm saying. That I'm not opposed. Like, I'm not scared of nudity in film. I'm not some incel. I'm not a prude. But it's like, it bothers me when it's like, let's throw in a sex scene. It's like, or, oh, let's, the censorship is gone. Let's throw in a sex scene. When they can do the remake, it's fuck that. That's not the important fucking movie.
All right. Anything else to add?
No, I don't have anything else to add. This is just a good movie. If you're gonna watch The Postman Always Rings Twice, watch this version, the 46 version. It's the best one. It's awesome. And the author liked the portrayal of the characters. You get Lana Turner, and even though, like, John Garfield's not really well known, to today's audience, he's great as Frank Chambers. Cecil Calloway as Nick is amazing. Yeah, you get a lot of great acting in this film, and it's fun. It's not fun, but it's like it's intriguing. It's
well
interesting.
performed.
Yeah, it's a great story, and I highly, highly recommend it.
All right, let's give our rating and we'll wrap it up.
Well, this is your movie, so why don't you start?
Yeah. Seeing as I've never seen this movie. I've only heard it like referenced in other movies, or other people have like brought it up. Pleasantly surprised. Pleasantly surprised. I'm gonna give this one. I'm gonna give this a 4.
Okay. I agree with you. I'm gonna give it a 4.5. As we were talking, I was realizing that, like, this is more. It really is not about the love affair at all. Because to me, that's, that would be like, if that was the point of the movie, I think I would like it less, because it's like, that's kind of sad.
Right.
But like, it's more, I was like, Nick's like a moron, and like, you're not paying attention to your wife, you're negligent, and you barely pay attention to the business. And your wife probably made this thing, your wife that you don't pay attention to is making this business more profitable than you realize.
Or that you
And
deserve.
you're willing to just like sell it at the brink of like becoming
At
really big.
at the most profitable possible, the most possible profit, the most
Profitable.
Yes, the most profitable moment in your entire business's history, and you're gonna sell it.
Fuck you. And seriously, for pennies.
I know, seriously, someone would have come in if Cora wasn't there, um, and he was gonna like this highway construction thing was still gonna happen. Someone would have come in and bought the business on pennies on the dollar, and then they would have been the ones to.
That's exactly what was happening. The guy that he was selling it to was like, "Oh, he's gonna pay me like a great amount, and I can just move back and like everything will be great. PG King and I can take care of my sister." It's like, are you a moron? You've been scraping, for this opportunity, and now you're just gonna sell it for nothing, and you're gonna make like what, like a couple $100, maybe like $10,000 profit when you're gonna make,
10
close
times
to $1
that.
million. Are you a
Yeah.
fucking idiot?
Wow, you're like really bothered by this character.
As we talked about it, it's like Nick's an idiot. It's like I don't feel bad for him at all.
All right. Yeah, that's our review for The Postman Always Rings Twice. I give it a 4. Robert gives it a 4.5. Definitely the version to watch.
Definitely.
You know, least of all, for the bombshell that's Lana Turner.
Oh, dude, if you're just looking for like a hot girl to watch, this is the movie.
Hmm. They don't make women like her anymore.
Yeah, definitely. And next week we got another one of your picks. We're gonna do Raging Bull.
That's okay. Wait, was that the? Did we decide on that?
I think that's the one we should do next.
Okay. All right. So that to look forward to for this month's theme, Black and White Through the Decades. Martin Scorsese's not Martin Scorsese's um,
Boxing classic,
boxing
1980.
classic. There you go. That's what I. So I know like
and I have a lot to say about this one. I really do. This is an amazing movie.
All right. So something to look forward to for everyone. All right, folks. That's the end of the show tonight. I hope you had a good time. I had a good time. I know Rob always has a good time.
I had a fantastic time.
All right. Don't forget to check out the library of other content that we have. Circle of Jerks main podcast, Nocturnal Transmissions, of course, and Rob's gaming show, Up by Up Down. Don't forget to follow us on our various social media accounts, Twitter and Letterboxd at PodcastCOJ, and Instagram at Circle of Jerks Podcast. And with all that said, we thank you for joining us. Come back next week and we'll do it all over again. Have a good night.